What's up everybody, and welcome to the channel. In today's video we are going to be driving the Ford Mustang Mach-E. No, this is not a muscle car. This is an electric vehicle crossover with that Mustang logo on it. Kind of interesting way Ford did that. However, I honestly think the Mustang Mach-E is one of the best EV cars. I'm not the biggest EV fan, quite honestly. I love my twin turbo gas engines. However, after experiencing the Mach-E and a whole array of EVs, I really think this is a good bang for the buck and offers so much. Now, today I'm here at Champion Car Company. They have both of these Mach-E's for sale, and they have a really nice selection of pre-owned inventory, and they also do consignment. My Nissan GT-R, which is the kind of car that I'm used to driving, that is on consignment here for sale, and they do a really good consignment setup. But check out Champion Car Company for your next vehicle and consider talking to them about consignment. So the Ford Mustang Mach-E, honestly I think it's kind of cool to use the Mustang name. Keeps it familiar, keeps it kind of in the family, and these ones have quite a few different trim levels. You can get them starting in the 200 horsepower range all the way up to almost 500 with a GT with the performance package, and torque can be well over 600 pound-feet. So this one right here, I can't remember the color, it's an orangish yellow color, but this one is a GT without the performance package, while this one's pumping out 600 pound-feet of torque and 480 horsepower. And then this one is a more normal trim level. I believe that's Grabber Blue, which looks fantastic. And that one's kind of a more basic one for a really, really good affordable price. These top out around 60 grand. And honestly, I've been in some $50,000 EVs that are just not too worth it. These seem to have it all. So just taking a quick look at them, you can totally see the Mustang in them, the muscle car, the way the headlights are designed, the grills and everything. And it's nice how the non-GT has a much different grille design and everything. So they're a pretty neat vehicle. And when you take a look at the interior, I actually really like this button. You just pop that, pull the door open. We get the nice black leather interior with a really cool stitching design, massive screens as well. And then moving over to the GT, I really love the interiors on these ones. You get the micro suede material with really cool copper color stitching, all of that. So definitely a cool setup. They did a good job, and I love how you get this cool material, more alcantara. These actually look like nice vehicles inside and out. And then taking a look at the back seat space, they're pretty roomy. They're practical for a mid-size crossover. It is a good family vehicle. You really don't have any sacrifices with them. And then looking at the rear of them, you can see the Mustang in them. It's so cool to take that heritage of the muscle car and throw it on an electric crossover. So overall, I think Ford did a great job with the design, and I think they really have a lot to offer with all the different spectrums of trim levels. So with all that said, we're gonna hop in the GT, because of course I wanna drive the faster of the two, and we're gonna see what it's like to drive and why I honestly think this might be the best EV you can buy when you really consider styling, performance, price point, and what you can do with it. I think these have a lot to offer. All right, so we are setting off now in the Mustang Mach-E GT. So I'm in whisper mode right now. I have one pedal drive turned off. I kind of like this mode better because when you take your foot off the accelerator, it kind of coasts like normal. However, if you turn that on, now when you take your foot off the accelerator, the car slows down. Of course, that's regenerating some charge, and it does kind of drive pretty neat because it regenerates that, and you don't really have to touch your brakes for every single circumstance. And then with the drive modes, you have two more. You have engaged driving. It'll tone up the performance a little bit, and then we have unbridled, which is their word for basically the performance, the sport mode, things like that. And we even have propulsion sound. So if you want to get that neat soundtrack, you have that. So if we go back to engaged, a little bit softer of a sound, and then whisper as you would expect. It's just silence. But what really stood out to me, I recently did a full detailed review on the Mach-E. If you want to take a look at that, check that video, linked in the description. But I was really impressed with how normal this feels. I'm not, like I said, the biggest EV fan. I think they're too weird. I think there's a lot of sacrifices, and they are very expensive for, at the end of the day, a basic car that just happens to be electric. I feel like somehow Ford did it well to where this feels like, even if this was a normal, let's just say 3.5 liter EcoBoost V6 for the price tag, brand new, a GT's around 60 grand, I wouldn't bat an eye. That sounds like what it would cost. And when you hop in and drive it, it is nice in here. The seats are really cool, super comfortable, great design. If you get the performance pack, you get, I believe, a cooler set of seats, maybe Recaros, the Brembo brakes, a whole extra step of performance, fun factor, stuff like that. and it seems like it's really well priced. When you look at the dash, the contours, this cool tablet, it genuinely feels like a car worth the price. And when you factor in that it is a fully electric vehicle, which already means it's going to be a little bit more expensive, you kind of take a step back and are like, wow, this is really impressive. I've driven some other crossover EVs. I'm not going to name the certain ones, but front wheel drive, 200 horsepower, $50,000. I mean, I don't know how you could actually justify buying something like that. It seems like a complete ripoff. You might as well buy the gas alternative and save $15,000, or buy a used gas alternative of that same car for half the price. So I think there's a lot of EVs that are way too much money. But when you drive this, knowing you can get a used GT for less than 60 grand, it seems like something really worth buying. And when you drive it, it feels solid in here. It feels like just a nice crossover. Really no complaints. Only complaint, I guess, is the fact that we have this full panoramic roof. While it looks awesome, it's super cool, of course, you don't get a sunshade, which, you know, hot days, you can feel the sun a little bit. I will say it does a good job not letting you feel the sun, but I wouldn't mind a sunshade. With that said, we are in unbridled mode, and I'm not quite sure what unbridled extended means. Last time I drove that, it felt slower than just normal unbridled. But regardless, let's give it some throttle. It's pretty quick. Now this isn't, you know, Tesla Model S Plaid type of performance, but this thing, it's got enough acceleration to push the blood in the back of your head and make you really focus on how you're driving. Whew. Yeah, it's pretty darn fast, and I like the combination. It's not too fast where you're gonna hit 100 without thinking. You know, if I slow down now to, let's say, 20 miles an hour, you know, and I floor it a little bit, that's 30, 40, 50, 60, not bad. After you get about 60, it tones down a little bit to where you're not just gonna hit 100 miles an hour. So it's really well done in the GT, and I've driven the more basic one, the blue one that you saw in the beginning of the video. I've driven those ones before, and they are peppy. One thing I do like about EVs, when you're zipping around town, they are just quick. You can just give it some gas. Oh my gosh, that's fast. Alright, the GT's got some power, but you can give it some throttle and just get places and zip around town. I really do like that aspect. I would say the biggest competitor to the Mach-E is going to be the Kia EV6. Driven quite a few of them. It is a really good option. I think that is the best alternative to this one. Personally, I do think this is a little nicer on the inside. I think it looks a little cooler. The EV6 definitely is a great competitor, and I would say that's probably up there in the top as well for good bang for the buck electric cars. But there's something about this where there's that extra normalness and a little bit, I'd say, extra quality, to where this just feels like something really special. It would be cool if they made the Mach-E in a normal car, like maybe replace the Edge with this. That would be pretty neat as well, just because it looks cool to have a Mustang in a crossover. Man. In whisper, it's neat to floor it because you don't hear anything, but it just goes. And then now just cruising like normal, like I said, it is just a normal, comfortable crossover with no compromises. And I think EV technology, as it continues to get there and be more practical to actually own one of these, I feel like it's nice when they make one of these cars that just feels familiar and normal. The buttons all feel cool. This screen, while it's kind of Tesla looking screen, they gave you a screen up in the center to give you the vitals to where you know what you're doing. You don't always have to find, you know, how fast am I going, not paying attention to the road. You can drive it like a normal car, and then it's pretty simple to go through the screen once you get used to it. I mean, really nothing all too crazy. You know, climate controls are always there, the way everything works. So it's not a car that takes too much getting used to, and I really like that aspect with this. And I think the biggest thing to me is that it just feels so nice. It feels like a high-end car, every bit of the price. You know, I've been in cars brand new, they have their MSRP, and it's like, man, you know, I just don't feel like this is that price point of a car. This GT, you know, around that 60 grand mark when it was brand new, honestly, I really don't bat an eye. It feels like a car that would be about $60,000. It feels nice. It has a cool material throughout the interior. It drives good. It's fast. Oh, man. You know, you really don't have any complaints. It's a pretty sweet car to be in. And then back in unbridled mode, let's do a roll from 20. Man, that's 60. Man, I can totally see this honestly being a good daily driver for a good EV. And the range, I think it's about 270 if you go for this power plant. So you're getting really good range. When we had the Kia EV6 GT, that one's like 170. So this car has good range and good power, and you get a really solid vehicle overall. I don't think there's any genuine complaints. I guess the only complaint is for the people who don't like this being called a Mustang. I do get it. It's a little weird they did that. I also understand Ford's perspective, kind of given that brand recognition. However, I think they could have just called it the Ford Mach-E. I don't think anybody would have had a problem with Mach-E, just calling it that. Adding in the Mustang, I don't really see the point. However, maybe they just wanted to style it like it because, I mean, we love the taillights, love the headlights, I love the Mustang in it. And it would have been interesting if they called it just a Mach-E, if they styled it the same, if people would have been confused. Not too sure there, but at the end of the day, it's just a name. It doesn't really make a difference. I think when you drive it and realize that, if you're going to get an EV and you want something that feels like a nice car without breaking the bank, I just think this has a lot to offer. And when you're in it, I mean, you got all the storage solutions you can need. The comfort, the refinement level is totally there. It feels like a good SUV. It packs a good punch. It's a really well-balanced electric car worth taking a look at. Comment below, what downfalls do you see in the Mach-E? For those of you who own one, are there anything that you don't like about it? The only thing I would say is the roof. I wish there was a shade, but even with the sun on me, I don't really find it to be getting too hot or anything. But that is it. Check out Champion Car Company, linked down below. They have a lot of really nice pre-owned cars in their inventory and awesome cars on consignment. Talk to them about consigning your vehicle. My GTR's there. My brother's Tacoma is there. My friend just sold his car through them, so definitely check them out. But that is it. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for plenty more content, and I'll see you all in the next video.